Hello there. I am filming a little bit of an update on how these Jetfire parts are going. I'm packing a bunch of kits as I speak right now. These two are going to be part of the next batch of parts, and a lot of the parts in here you can see haven't been painted nor cleaned. And there's a whole table of parts over here that have been cleaned and painted. They're just waiting to be packed, and I'm going to film a little bit of how I actually pack pieces. So I'll put this down. I'll also demonstrate maybe in another video how I clean and take care of each of these parts. I have my little labels over here, little packing slips that I put into the boxes, and I've already pre-cut these. I print them out on this little cheap printer here. This video is mainly going to be how I pack some Jetfire parts that are already cleaned, and maybe a little bit of the process in between that. So this is a set right now that I'm processing, getting ready to ship out. I've already packed these pieces here. Woo! Don't mean to. I packed the gun and the clip and the arm guards, and I've done these parts for every set. So the way I do it is I, instead of doing each kit one at a time, because I have so many orders to process at once, I'm kind of going through each part. And I'm like, okay, so I pick the gun and the gun clip for each set, and I just do the gun and gun clip for every single set. I test it and make sure it works, and I clean it and take care of that. And then I'll go on to the arm guards, and I'll do the arm guards for every set. And I'll work my way up until I actually finish the kit. So right now, in front of you, I'm going to finish a kit. You can see these parts here are ready. They've been painted. I've cleaned up the overspray. The airbrush looks a lot better on these things than the hand-painted look. I'm really proud of how the painting mask worked out for these pieces.
Alright, pop them in there like that. Nice and secure. Hold it from the bottom, and we'll try spraying. Alright, pop that guy out. We'll take a look at him. You know, that ain't bad.
But even still, there was some overspray that I needed to take care of, and the way I did that was I took a little Q-tip and I kind of inspected the edge of the piece and went around it and just kind of dabbed it up and cleaned it up, and I did that for every single one of these, just little touch-ups here and there. This table had, I think this table had like twice the number of parts, so I've finished about half of the orders. It's been crazy around here. My first batch sold out within the first night. Like, I expected it. I expected some orders, but I didn't expect that many. I can't be more grateful for how well this set's been doing so far. I hope you guys enjoy it. I've been putting a lot of work into it, making sure that it's as good as it can be. See there? So they start out looking something like this. Like, yeah. You can tell how it prints, right? I printed at a little bit of at an angle, so it sits kiltered like that. And then the only side that faces the printer is this bottom piece, which it's kind of miraculous that it ends up looking like that. But all this stuff is just, you know, junky support. Kind of pop it out from the back here. And that takes care of like 90% of the work there. So this is what I use to pack my parts. This is a roll of polytubing. It's this. Originally I had this idea because you get. I get a lot of furniture. I build a lot of my own furniture sometimes, like from the store. Like you buy store-bought furniture and then you need to assemble it. And oftentimes the parts will come partitioned in like a little poly bag. And I always thought, you know, that'd be a good idea if I'm selling parts or screws or tiny things like that. And a good way to keep track of them will be to use little poly bags, and it would be a lot more economical for me to use and more professional than using little Ziploc baggies and stuff. So I figured out how they did it. I got this little heat sealer, and the way the heat sealer works is it has a little timer that you set on it, and then the line heats up here, and then when you press down, it seals this little portion of the bag. And then I cut off just behind the line, and now this is a bag. You can put stuff in here. like that. Yeah, and so that's what I'm going to show you how to do today. These back guards here and these turbo thrusters need to be paired up. Now I'll show you what that process is like. So pick one of these that are done. I finished cleaning all of these last night, and then I pick a couple of turbo thrusters. One of the this is the right one, and this is Jetfire's left one. Before I package these, I want to make sure they work. I test every single part before I send it out. I've done this so much that I know exactly which side each one goes on now. And occasionally I'll have a little bit of overhang there, just from how it prints, and it might affect the way this thing lines up, but let's see how it works. Goes in. Yeah. I think I might want to get that. Kill that little clump. Alright, I cleaned that up just a little bit. Let's test it again. See how it works. Ah, nice and flush. That's what I'm looking for right there. Alright, let's test this other one over here. Sometimes this side has different tolerances, and I think it's because I print this one on a different printer. See, when I printed these things, this was printed on one printer, the left side, or the right side, and then I printed this one on another printer. I print one piece at a time. That's the safest way to do this. And occasionally, this one has slightly different tolerances, so we'll see how that works. Ooh, there we go. Ah. It fits, but I can't sell it like that. I want to make sure this thing works reliably. There we go. When I give it to the customer. Alright. And that's, long and the short of it, that's what I do. Before I sell any of these parts, I exercise them a little bit. I get them to the tolerance that I think is acceptable. Now, when it comes to certain parts, certain things to exercise, I have to be kind of careful with certain things. So like this connecting this to Jetfire, I have to make sure that this works for every single piece, and I shouldn't have to test this on every piece. But every now and then, maybe once a blue moon, I'll take one of these and I'll just test it on my Jetfire. And the reason I'm cautious on doing things like this is because over time, if you keep using these toys to test your parts, you can actually wear down your toy. And because these toys are so old, you really don't want to be doing that. Uh-oh, I don't want to confuse these with those. I abuse these. I would never sell these. These are for my own personal use. Those are for customers. So you might notice a few things, like because I use these parts so much that they're very easy to pop off of this Jetfire. Whereas this one here, because it's brand new, it's going to be a little stiff. But that's what you want. You want the tolerance to kind of grow with time, to know that, you know, you can wear it in and it's still fine. It's supposed to snap in on the other side too. There it goes. Yeah, you give it a nice firm push and you get the back guard on there. And that tells me this part's good to sell. It was scary developing this kit for the most part, because I had to try to match the tolerance of the original parts to the best that I could. So that involved me taking on the original part on and off and getting a feel for what felt like this, because I needed to match it as best I could. I'll pop my original part back on. See, that one snaps on easily because I've played with it so much. So the more you play with these things, the more you'll break them in. The more they'll feel. Actually, it still holds on. Despite this being a little loose, like, it still holds on, because mine, even though I've played with this thing to death, I've taken these parts on and off, I've carried them around, I've shown them to people, and they still hold up. I'm very happy with how this set turned out. And I keep these parts on my Jetfire now, just to kind of protect my original parts. I keep my original parts in a bag, and eventually I'll have a reproduction Jetfire box coming in, and I'll put my parts in there. But I don't want to use my original parts on this guy anymore because I'm afraid to break them. So I'll keep them with this. And notice he has one of my original guns that was FDM printed. My new ones are resin printed now. You can kind of see what his gun would have looked like if it were 3D printed traditionally. Doesn't look all that different from the one that I sell. I was actually planning to sell these, but believe it or not, I went with the resin printed one just for the sake of time. It wasn't because I wanted to improve the quality at all. It wasn't anything like that. I just wanted to, because I can print like 15, 16 of these things in a single 8-hour print. Whereas if I wanted to print like 15 or 16 of these, it would take like 4 days. Yeah, it's I went with the resin printer just to save time. Here you go, hold your gun. Alright, you, why is your back... Oh, close that up and then the backpack stays up. That's what this little spacer is for. If you have the wings down, then the backpack will go... Yeah. It needs some back support, so you close that up and it works. Alright, Jetfire. There we go. That's good, that feels nice. Test this one again. Alright, that's perfect. Tolerances, happy with it. Now, time for packaging. We're gonna pack these two first, and then we'll pack this guy. So, let's take a little piece of this, and we'll drag it to about the length that we need. Alright, let's grab our little scissors here. Oh, that little stand over there was 3D printed. I had to design I wanted something to sit on the edge of my desk so that I could screw into place in this little, so I built a little like spool holder thing. Now we got our poly bag. Alright. Put them in there like that. Alright. So it'll go like that. And then we push it to the bottom of the bag, and I'll go in and grab a little slip over here. Here's my little packing slip. I'll face the direction side towards the piece, and I'll have the part graphic on the outside. Alright. So you can see what I like to go for there is to have a picture of what's in there. And once we have it lined up to where we want it to go, I'm going to take this over here to the back to the heat sealer and then seal it up. And now we just cut off this little excess here. Get it close, make a straight line, and look at that. Oh, isn't that cool? When I packed my first pieces using this this sealer, I got so giddy. It's like, oh, it feels professional. It's so cool. Gosh, Megatron was my first kit, and let me tell you, those were some times. All right, now we're gonna pack the back guard. All right, packing this guy. I like to, depending on the part, dictates the orientation of the slip itself. Sorry, that slip is so bright it messes with the exposure on my camera when I try to show it off. All right. Oh, the paper I print these little packing slips on is it's like business paper. You go to your Office Max or your Staples and you look for a professional business paper. It's like a sort of a glossy paper. It's expensive, man. It's like $40 for just a pack of like 100. But I figured it was worth the investment because it makes it look nicer. The reason I got nicer paper, I would have just printed this on just regular copy paper, like just the little images. But the reason I had to do it is because on the regular copy paper, you could see through the other side. I needed something that had a higher weight. This is what the pound rating stands for when it comes to paper, that level. It's how much is here, how much thickness is here, so you can, that prevents you from seeing through to the other side of the paper. I think this is like a 50 pound or something like that, and it allows me to have something over here and something over here without too much bleed over from one page to another. Turned out really well. And so that's why I had to do it with these parts. Now, for individual parts that I'm selling on their own, they're just going to be printed on regular paper. But if you're buying the kit, I have a special page queued up just for the kit pieces that have instructions on how to assemble each of these parts. But if you're just buying single parts on their own, then I assume you probably already know what you're doing. But yeah, that's how I package Jetfire parts. You want to keep going? Let's keep going. Let's keep going. We got the arm guards. We got the gun. We got the back guards. So now we just have the fenders. These are called the fenders. And the only reason I know that is from this book right here. Vintage Guide to Transformers. Helps me to... It always bugs me. You see that scope on the cover there? It's assembled backwards. It's even assembled backward on his page, but if you cut over here to Jetfire's page, I believe... No, he's 1985. There he is. So it shows this is his page. I'm getting a box like that. I really want a box. And so at the bottom of the page, it actually tells me the names of a lot of these parts. 11 pieces of battle armor, left and right leg guards, left and right fenders, 2 leg clips, leg and arm guards. I call them fender clips. Photon missile launcher. So it gives me the vernacular that I need to use, and that's how I label these parts on my computer when I'm working on them, and whenever I sell them on the eBay store, that's how I label them. I'm not sure if those are if those are canonical names for these things. I don't think it matters. He has 2 pages on them. Yeah, a lot of history behind this toy here. So next up, we got these fenders here. Oh, it looks like this guy needs to be cleaned a little bit. Got most of that out of there. Let's get this guy. Little strings on the bottom. This is where it faces the printer, so it's gonna have a little nasty junk on the bottom that you're gonna take care of. A lot of time I'll just scrape it off. Alright, I think we're good. I'm happy with how that looks. Ah, we have another one. Hasn't been cleaned. I have been looking to expand recently. I need to get more printers. I only have 3. And one is not working right now, one's out of commission, so I only have 2 printers right now. It's making my life very difficult. You may have noticed on my shop that I've conveniently ran out of stock of like everything. I'm hitting that ceiling now where I actually need to increase my production to meet demand. I got a lot of people, I need a message when parts are back in stock. It's hard to keep up with. I'm just one guy. I try my best. But my goal is to get a bunch of small printers. I have what the equivalent of 3 CR10s. My big, like 300 by 300 by 400 millimeter build volume printers. They're TiVo Tornadoes, essentially. I got 3 of them. Those are huge printers. Like, you gotta find a big space to put those things. I wish I had just a bunch of smaller printers, because I find that half the time I'm only printing parts that are maybe this big. And my reasoning to get large printers was so that if I ever wanted to branch out and do things like cosplay armor, like if I wanted to build an Iron Man costume or print an Aliens pulse rifle, or things that just needed to be big, which I have printed before. I've printed massive things on those printers in the past, and they've been useful, but I don't need them really for that. I feel like they're overkill for something like this. But I've been hesitant to get a different kind of printer just because I'm so familiar with the Bowden tube setup on the TiVo Tornado, and I have replacement parts that are easy to find for it. But Creality makes, or no, is it Prusa? Oh yeah, the Creality Ender 3 Pro. I want to get a bunch of those. Like, as soon as they're back in stock, they're only like $200 a printer, which compared to the TiVo Tornado, I end up paying around $330 US for those things, and I have to wait like 2 weeks for them to get here. Whereas if I just get a Creality Ender 3, they're smaller, but not by that much. But they're just a little bit smaller, and they're like way cheaper. And they seem to use the same sort of setup and same general parts that the TiVo does. So I might make an investment in the near future. I hope they restock soon. I know everybody's stuck at home right now and they're trying to pick up hobbies, and 3D printing is just that go-to thing for some people. I mean, let's face it, that's what I did. I got let go from work, and I decided, you know what? I don't want to go back to work. I want to pursue my dream and do what I want to do. I don't want to have to answer to anyone other than myself. So I started this. Turned this little hobby that I had into a little side hustle, and then it grew into a way to make a living. We got our left and right fenders done, and now we need to look at the leg clips, or the fender clips is what I like to call them. Here they are. Got our little fender clips. This is our left this is our right. The way I remember it is that this side right here, there's a smooth curve on here, there's a concave curve here that's always going to be facing down, and this small curve here, this convex curve, is going to be facing up. So that tells me exactly which side each of these are on. Alright, I think these parts are great. At the risk of sounding too repetitive in my adjectives, they're great. 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 Now to test them. Alright, this guy goes on this side. Whoop. Alright, let me put this down. It's easier for me to break it in if I have two hands. Alright. There we go. That's about the tolerance I want to look for. I allow it to be a little bit tighter than usual to give it some room to wear with time. The fact that it's sticking in there nice and solid now is a good sign. Now I'm going to test the other one, make sure that it works great. Now, if I'm selling these clips by themselves, I would actually test these on the original parts. But since these are going to be for a complete set, I'm going to just test it on these and make sure they work. Okay, this fits good. Okay, we're almost there, Now we walk over here to our table, and we pick out some leg guards. All of them are the same. These are all identical. That's a left one, that's a right one. Grab these, walk back over here. All right. Now, I have to be very careful to double check myself every time I do this to make sure that I am picking the right side for the right pieces. Nope, that's the wrong one. He gets those, this guy goes over here. The way you can tell which side these fenders go on is by this little line here. This line is going to be facing down. That's going to be facing down behind Jetfire's leg. And this part would go on this side. We're testing this now. Perfect. And alright, that looks good. That's the right side. And you get the gist of it, but I don't know. I'll do it anyway. Is this entertaining? I guess it can be. Alright, got us a little baggie here. Now this is one of those moments where I will take the packing slip, and I'll actually slip this in before I slip in the parts. And it's just, these particular parts make it easier, and I have to be careful to make sure I get the right parts in the right bag. I never want to mess this up if I can avoid it, because then it would make me look really stupid. There's actually a time where I had the wrong instructions on the back of this. Like it said right, and it had the right parts here, but then when you look at the back, it would be like the left parts. And I had to quickly fix that before I mass-produced them. I'm glad I caught that in time. When I made that Facebook post, I realized, oh wait, this is incorrect. Alright, that's good. There we go. 1, 2, 3. And now, I'm going to seal this up like so. Nice. We got the right ones in the right bag. Alright, and now we're going to take these guys and do the same thing to them. Alright. So I'm going to pack this Jetfire box here. So I like to put this side, I like to put this guy in first. He goes over there. And then this guy goes in here like that. And this guy goes in here like that. Yeah. And I like to take this guy, put him here. Kind of catty corner it up on that side. You're standing on a monopod, by the way. That's why it shakes back and forth. And then the last part that goes in is the gun. I like to put that in like so. So, now I'm going to show you how I box this up. Grab some of these. I use different scissors for different things. And the reason is because whenever you're cutting things that are sticky, like tape, you don't want to use scissors that you would cut normal things with, because then it would stick to everything that you cut. Because these are not clamshell boxes and they fold up, I want to be vigilant on how I do this. Alright, so that's good right there. This is how I prefer to tape my things. I put the roll there. I kind of put my thigh right there on it, puts tension on the tape, and then I make a clean cut. I never have any sort of peeling or ripping by cutting like that. So that's why I don't use one of those sort of tape dispenser things. Because what they have are little teeth, and what the little teeth do is on the ends, it'll make perforations there, and then when you try to peel up another piece of tape, it splits and it runs down the tape. Doing it like this guarantees that tape never splits. Alright, that's just a piece to hold it in place. These things, and they're just stickers. I mean, they're straight up stickers. I print these things on my printer. This is label paper, I believe. You would normally use this to print shipping labels. Though I do not use things like this to print my shipping labels, just because I'm paranoid that, like, what if it falls off the box during shipment. So I print a big piece of paper on it, and I cut them into strips, and it has the name of the kit and the number on it. And then I'll stick it on here, right below that seam. Now I'll measure out what I want. That works. I'll press that there, and then I'll make a cut. Perfect. And I'll come at it here. And the tape goes over that little label. Make sure it's good and on there. Alright. And there we go. That is a complete Jetfire set. Thanks for watching! Oh, no, okay. I'm going to show you how I pack them, too. Got a whole stack of these. These are like 14 by 10 or 14 by 9 by 3 with the box. I'll take them. And I'll shove it in here. Alright, there we go. Got it packed up nice and secure. There we go. Seal that. Alright. Nice and sealed up. We are ready to go. I'm going to slap the customer's label on there, and that is how I pack and take care of Jetfire kits. I got all these left to do. So, thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.